What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Youth Care Podcast. It is good to be here on a day like this one. My name is Listen, it's a podcast. We're up.
Was that laugh message?
It's a reverse time that we are allowed to be our actual selves
Okay.
on a podcast.
We listen, we don't judge. It's okay.
It's fine.
No, we judge.
We have Casey here, and we're already making him feel awkward because I should believe on a podcast somebody should feel awkward, at least. But that's Esther Mega. She is my co-host on the podcast today, and I joined by a person who I want to say, okay, I won't mention the name that's on the paper because it's about to get extremely awkward. But Pierre Fresher, are you pressuring me to say the name that's on the paper?
Yes. If you don't say it, I'm going to beat you.
Okay. We joined by memory on the podcast today.
I'm not adopting that name. I'm not. Oh, why? You had to take the Zambian route. Oh, remember.
But on a serious note, we are joined by Lesa.
Yeah.
I love what he says when he's introducing himself. So let's give him the chance to introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. Hello, family. My name is Lesa. I'm the National Youth Representative, a medical doctor, and of course, public speaker, mental health advocate. And of course, I remain.
Lesa. Told you I love how he does that.
His name from Napisa. Just on the pod, we are talking about peer pressure as well as self-care. And we're basically learning how young people, adolescents, can navigate peer pressure while practicing self-care. And Lesa is our in-house specialist today, is our guest today, helping us understand these things. Now, remember that you can follow Copper Rose at Copper Rose Zambia on all, I was about to say all streaming platforms.
I hate that.
On all social media platforms, and you can be able to just keep in contact right there. But remember that this podcast is proudly supported by Taste Bonds, and we're glad that they're here with us to support us. Now, we begin the conversation right here. You mentioned that you are a medical doctor, but we want to get it from the medical perspective of how you define peer pressure, if there's a medical perspective anyway.
Well, it falls down to the social ground rules, basically. On the medical setup, would want to interloop it with medical diseases or illnesses that bring with mental health, per se. But in the social sphere, peer pressure is basically the influence exerted on an individual social group to actually orient a certain way because somebody is exerting that pressure. Okay, so this might be vices like maybe drinking in the common setup of Zambia, some social and cultural beliefs. Yeah, it extends down to those lines.
I know that you've already started touching on what some of the peer pressures are, especially in this generation, which brings me to the next question. I know you're an advocate for the youths. Anything related to youths, you will speak after it. And I'm sure you're quite aware about some of the peer pressures that they get to face. But with some of the things that you've seen that they get to face, how do you think they can deal with them as well?
Well, the youth in Zambia especially, we've been battling with something really, really huge. Just like you mentioned, there are a lot of clusters on how we cluster peer pressure and types of peer pressures that we actually have in Zambia as well. So like one of the things that we're battling with right now, hence the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts launching the National Youth Policy as well as the Drug and Substance Control Policy, is drug and substance abuse as it relates to people from the age of 16 to 25. Yeah, so part of it is drug abuse. It has dawned our land and it's preying on our young ones. Right now in Luanshya, we had an activation program with the United States Embassy, and we saw a ratio of over 40% of pupils going in schools abuse drugs. And that is probably just based on somebody who was doing it, and I feel it's cool. And that's a trajectory that this generation is taking, especially with our youth. So it's really, really sad. And it's also a wake-up call to many youths here in Zambia. And yeah, I feel like we're doing enough.
All right. Now, Esther is actually from Luanshya.
I know. I was about to say that.
Cowing. They get it.
I think let's not put each other on sports, please.
And people need to know that you have a gate.
Pakuingira, so where they get.
If you want to go, if you're in on the proper belt and you want to go to Luanshya, what if I call Kusuri again?
Shout out to Luanshya.
But then I want to ask a personal question.
Yeah.
Lisa, you want to groove, right?
Yeah.
A young person want to groove, want to kushana.
Just speak Nyanja.
Can I?
You're not flourishing in the bin, but
This is on this podcast. Let it be known that I am George Mulenga.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, name of George Mulenga.
Okay.
M class. So I want to get from you because you have work, you have your advocacy thing going on, and everything like that. How does it work? Especially, it's a Friday, people want to go and chill, you want to make your own plans, and your friends are like, boy, it's a good I can print 2 hours, yeah. How do you make that balance so that you can still be effective with your work, but also get a good night's rest and also be effective following day?
That's good. So the intersection really dawns on one thing. But first, let me put that to record. I don't have grooving. I barely go out. I stopped because of some certain things. Just like you mentioned, I'm currently serving as the National Youth Representative under the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts. And I'm also leading an organization called Youth Africa Unite. So basically we gather youth from across the continent and speak a certain narrative to sustainable development. Now, bouncing back to your question, I feel like it also adds a part on how people relieve stress, because the youth in Zambia especially, I would look at the digital ecosystem, look at the things that's trending right now, okay, and look at the people that are influencing these things that's trending, and it's the youth. If you go in these clubs, okay, or these outings or grooves, if you like, you call them grooves.
Grooves, can you?
no, I
Can you start? You want to get into the hair? She can't be there. Okay, we see, we don't judge. We don't judge.
I feel very judged. This is not a safe space.
Well, yeah, so you see that youth in Zambia, especially if you go to these clubs, you find that it is packed with youth. And if you ask them 2 questions or 2 answers, I beg your pardon, actually bring from that is, I'm just here because I want to, or my friend had to. Yes. The year was 2019 when I was in my first year doing medicine. 2018, when I was in my first year doing medicine. I reached at my Bonnie house, okay? So I'm this young kid, okay? And the only thing I know is good. I still know good, put it to record. The only thing I know... Yes. And I reached there. I'm sharing a room with 2 people, okay? And this was a Friday. I reached on a Friday. And I'm straight out of high school. And with me, I was raised by strict parents. You know, those parents that say, prayer time, devotion, 05, those type of parents.
Yeah.
Right? So the first day I reach, put my bags, and I just want to study. You know, I get my books because I was like a week late. So my roommates, okay, were those, second years. Yes, it's Alexander. My chef, you reach Tiff, the part of Goftuara.
See.
You know what I'm saying? If you let Steph the part of Goftuara, Tiyoko. And now, me being young, I thought, okay, but these people have been in.
So the person knows
Yes,
this side.
And you'd actually blame people who actually just snap into things like that. I feel prey to that because with all the beliefs, all the teachings that my mom instilled in me, they just like went down the drain. Exactly. And I just wanted to actually impress those people. So I went out for the first time in a club. My oh my, the experience was
Interested.
very interesting.
No, but I love the fact that it's touched on parents as well, because I wanted to ask, what role do you think parents can play in this? Because, there's something that you said where you said everything that your mother told you kind of went out of the window because you wanted to impress these people. So now, as a parent that is probably watching this with their kids, what role do they play to ensure that their kids do not fall prey to peer pressure?
Okay, so half of the medical or mental illnesses that we deal with are attached with parental guidance and care, basically trauma. Okay, so it might be daddy issues, it might be mommy issues, really, abandonment, rejection, rejection, and all this streamline on how you were brought up. So the little things that we hear from our parents, right? And also maybe the basic foundation that they lay to us is very cardinal as it navigates us in the storms of life. Because the external factors will only bounce back to what you already know. You know what I'm saying? If my parents tell me that this is bad, and I grew up knowing that that is bad, it also may be attached to how well you resonate with yourself. Because even though parents, I mean, some parents try. You know what I'm saying?
They try.
Like, yes, like mine tried. Okay, there was a point in life where I did zero from the path, but mine tried. So parents play an important role, but I feel like it also takes you as a person to actually get that and also know your purpose, because self-identification and love and care also resonates on how you radiate with everyone and how you accumulate information.
Okay, all right. This is a Youth Care podcast right here at Copperos, Zambia. We are with
Let's
Okay, it's Lessa. Yes, George.
it's not written Lisa on my.
No, okay, while he's busy thinking about what else to say actually with you, I also have quite an interesting question with you, because we're talking about peer pressure as well. But then how can youths also try to prioritize self-care in this era where peer pressure is literally everywhere? If it's not in school, it's on social media, it's literally everywhere we go. So as a youth that's just trying, to choose yourself every day, have some time with yourself, how do you go about this?
Okay, so when we were learning about self-love and how I actually understood self-care, we had a workshop, right? And one of the moderators mentioned this, and it really transformed my life. He said, life is like a movie, right? And a script. Like, nobody gets to play starring in each movie. Like, each character is tailor-made for a specific role. When you understand your character, right, you play that role perfectly. Okay, and that's life. So you need to understand who you are and not compare yourself to the next person. Okay, so some people think I've got this ego, right? When I say I remember, I mean,
I don't.
I saw.
Why should I? Is that it's so nice?
It's so bad shit. So
Here, ego.
well, yeah. So it also branched when I was growing up. When I was growing up, I had a really huge stammering problem. Like, it was really bad. I was bullied. I'm actually writing a book about it. It's called I Am Speech.
Did you still start up?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
We need to talk about how health can.
Read his book.
Yes.
Write in a book.
I have his number.
Actually, I'm writing a book about it. It's called I Am Speech. So where I'm going to this story is, I used to start a lot. Like, I used to hit my leg when speaking, and I was in my 5th grade by then. So I was bullied a lot. I wanted to join debate so much, and you'd see how people are speaking on stages, and I was like, I want to be like them. You know what I'm saying? So I used to be bullied a lot till like 8th grade. Then I realized one thing to say, I can't be like them, but I can be lesser, right? So the self-love and self-care was introduced in me at a very young age. I started daily affirmations. It's like, you're brave, son. You're okay. You are different, but you are not a problem. Okay. So that's how I introduced self-love and care. Hence, the external influence was shut out because I remained lesser. Due to any
Why people think
Doesn't matter.
anything, and that built a certain type of self-confidence. I started speech therapy on my own. I remember in my 9th grade, I won Best Speaker. That's debate, 10th grade. And now I'm being invited to speak in international platforms and all that. And it all brings or branches to how well you know yourself. And you have to believe in yourself, right? You need to take care of yourself. Even the word mental health starts with me, M-E. Me is the part. Take care of yourself. Even the Bible says it, George. Do you read the Bible, George? Does George?
Someone has it. I'm actually used pastor. I feel like Joseph did, and as a youth, I give pastor. But I wish this podcast, like this episode, was about how to get over a stutter, because Esther Mlinga is not a kind person in that front. But let's talk about boundaries. So how can a person communicate boundaries, especially in a place where they feel pressured to do something? And aside from the example that you had, fresh in university, and you just get there, you want to study, they tell you can't study, it's not taking you anyway, let's go. Now you've grown, you've learned. How can one set up boundaries that just, if you say no, it's my no, it's no.
my no is my yes is yes.
Yes, it's okay to say no. wherever you are watching.
I didn't say that again to me.
It is okay to say no.
Okay.
Like
Deep.
it is okay to say no, right? Like, sir, ma'am, it's okay to say no. That's you, okay? It is okay to say no. You're responsible for your life. Learn to understand, dear youth, that people are only temporal in your life and they're only playing a small part. Don't let temporal actions determine your infinite future. Like, now that's dangerous. Because those temporary decisions will actually impact you in future, and you'll be back like say, all right. That's why it's very much important to understand who you are and set those boundaries in accordance.
Yeah.
Okay. I love to tag my life with spirituality and everything that actually branches to it. It's very much important to have where you're going, because when you're leading a blind life, I mean, George, you tell me to jump, I will jump. But when you tell me to jump, I'll ask why. Because
And just like the military.
exactly. Much into that. But when I'm aligned with what I want and what I'm focused with, and those boundaries are set, I'll question why. So add your why factor, and it's important to say no. Understand yourself before anything.
And just to add on to that, there's a self-care workshop I was attending.
Yeah.
And the moderator said, saying no is part of self-care.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
that is you saying, this is not for me. I'm going to choose myself in this situation, and I will say no. So whoever is watching, say no. It's a good thing, okay? Don't feel bad about it.
Speaking of saying no, as well as self-care habits, a question that I have, Lessa, is how do you think peer pressure can impact self-care habits? And I want to speak to especially the young people who are in universities, like they're just starting out the first years. And I'm touching on that because you have like a unique experience. You just got there and already you are in groove.
I thought we said we listen.
We don't judge. I'm just saying, it's feeling judgmental. Us both there. Day one, he puts the books down. He wants to study. But if you haven't had time, like every note place of the
Guys.
Are you that trusted?
Well, those were my big brothers, and
You just met them.
Well, it's also part of what you're trying to ask, George, with the youths in different university and scopes of life.
Yeah.
You find that something that plays major impact on peer pressure is social media influence.
Yeah, true.
And the total how we perceive being cool. I mean, you are in media, right? You're also in media as well. You guys are, of course, you've got influence there.
So good job.
Okay. But I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to say is people would want to be like you. So if George says something, that's why it's important, even us being in leadership spaces, to learn how we orient ourselves.
And how we use our social.
Exactly. It's very, very much important because everything, LinkedIn is one of the, I know time is coming to an end, but LinkedIn is one of the places where I was surprised. I deal with a lot of youths across Africa and everything. I see this person is a managing director of what's. They come to my LinkedIn and they're like, sir, I'm just asking for an opportunity to speak at your event. I'm like, hold up. You know what I'm saying? If I saw that as a young person, I'll be pressured, man. And when that guy says something, I'm following suit. But that's just a basic perception that we're seeing. So it's very much important to actually decode and see, don't detach from reality. If there's something we're picking up from this, don't detach from reality.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have to come to the end of this amazing podcast. The conversation, the gems that this man was dropping, don't grow big-headed, but he was dropping some snapping fingers, kind of.
In the future, don't go back to the past. I couldn't sound like that. Don't say something like that.
Anyway, this was the Youth Care Podcast. We were discussing everything peer pressure and how youths can navigate peer pressure and, of course, practice self-care. My name is Esther Lenga. And this one is George
You forgot about it. Like, it's a podcast. We're not on TV.
Yeah. No, that's a bye still.
No, you can't say my name is this and then I say my name.
Okay, this is George Samuel Perry. And this is, what's the name again?
I remain Vanessa. Let it be known. George, say it with me.
Memory.
I give up.
You remain memory. I hope you have a good memory because you're going to be back on the Youth Care Podcast. Again, thank you very much for joining us, Lisa.
Thank you very much.
Peace.